What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Keep It Hoop YouTube channel. I wanted to make a quick video about the Bucks Heat game from last night, the 34-point game. Right? The Bucks winning 132-98. It was 46-20 after the first quarter, and Milwaukee got off to an 8-0 start. And Jimmy Butler continues to struggle. One of the headlines is the fact that Giannis is guarding Jimmy Butler on a lot of plays and has kind of just taken him out of the series. It's Giannis is obviously bigger, stronger, more athletic, and it's been difficult for Jimmy, right? And it's hard to have someone like that guarding you for the majority of the possessions. But the Bucks just look like a different team. I talked about this in my podcast from last night. If you haven't seen it yet or listened to it, go check it out. I have it on my YouTube channel, but it's also up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But the Bucks just look like a different team. They look more mentally and physically more tough with guys like Jrue Holiday, Bobby Portis, PJ Tucker as well. But yeah, this Miami team, they've been inconsistent for the whole year. Defense has been their calling card for the last 2 years, but they just don't look like the same team. I think someone that they missed a lot, especially last night, was Jay Crowder, someone who's known to be kind of an enforcer, someone who's always just trying to make it tough and annoying for the other team, and they really missed him last night, I think. It's not even the statistical aspect, but just having him on the team. But so yeah, we'll take a look at some of the things Miami didn't do well. So right off the bat, right, I think the Ariza on Giannis matchup hasn't been going well, and it showed last night. Bam has been someone who, when he's had the chance to guard Giannis, right, when Milwaukee either goes small or Miami can put on someone else out there to guard Brook Lopez. I think it's a better matchup to try to stop Giannis. And because Trevor Ariza is just not strong or big enough to guard Giannis, especially when Giannis just puts his head down or posts up in the paint, right? And you see how the Heat even know this because they're bringing help over, right? Duncan Robinson is coming over to help. Bam is looking. Jimmy's even sliding over. Like they're gonna have to bring multiple people to try to contain Giannis if Trevor Ariza is the only guy guarding him. Now, you can say that about a lot of guys having to guard Giannis, but Bam really is, in my opinion, the best one-on-one defender against Giannis. So I think, especially after the way Dwayne Dedmon played, I think if I was Spo, I would at least consider playing Bam and Dwayne Dedmon at the same time, because Dwayne Dedmon can space the floor on offense a little bit, so he's not going to clog up the paint too much. And Bam defensively isn't just a center, so it's not, the weaknesses or the usual complaints of having two centers or two bigs on the court don't really apply as much. But you see here, I mean, Giannis just outmuscles, Trevor Ariza, and then they just can't get on the boards. And I think, once you start to see something like that, then your defense has to adjust to that, and everything just changes, right? Because you have to start overplaying now. And this is even a more extreme version of that because Duncan Robinson, while he has improved as a defender, and he definitely tries, it's not like a lack of effort, but he just isn't a great defender, right? And teams know that, and they're going to keep attacking Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero when they're in the game. And it was no different last night. And when Duncan Robinson has to guard Giannis, they're bringing extra help. And just no rotation here, right? Jimmy Butler is a little bit too late. I don't know if it was a communication thing, but Chris Middleton gets a wide open look. And the thing is, even if Chris Middleton, right, even if Jimmy closed out a little earlier, he has Jrue Holiday wide open because, right, you have Kendrick Nunn who hasn't stepped up yet, so Jrue Holiday is wide open too. So you have multiple options there for the Bucks. Chris Middleton ends up knocking it down anyways, though. Now, the defense from Miami is so big because they've struggled to score consistently at times during the season, right? And they still have a decent fast break game, especially with Jimmy Butler, right? So if they can get more stops and they can get more baskets like this, where it's just easier looks, you either draw fouls or again, just get layups or dunks. And that can not only get you points on that possession, but that should help you down the stretch, just get into the rhythm and stuff. But if they're not getting stops and they're struggling on offense, I don't want to sound like Charles Barkley, but this series really might be a sweep, which is crazy because, you went into this series knowing what we knew from what happened last season, and I still had the Bucks winning because I thought, again, Miami was worse, and I thought that Milwaukee was better and more tough. But I thought that it was at least going to be an interesting series, and so far, I mean, Game 1 was close, right? I'll bait the fact that Jimmy Butler played bad, and Giannis missed some free throws down the stretch. But game two was just, and I don't think the rest of the series is going to be like game two, but it's pretty one-sided so far, despite game one being close. So Chris Middleton ends up getting a wide open lane right to the basket, and then they have to come over and help, which gives Giannis the dunk. But if you look at this team, right, like this starting lineup, you have three solid defenders, right? Bam is, I think, a guy who should have been considered or higher to be or in the rankings of Defensive Player of the Year candidacy. Jimmy Butler, right, good defender, and Trevor Ariza is a solid defender. He's not the defender he once used to be, but still a solid defender. But you have two guys in Duncan Robinson and Kendrick Nunn, who's the one that gets beat here, who are minus defenders. They're not even average. They're below average to bad defenders. And Milwaukee is a very good offensive team, one of, if not the most efficient offensive team in the regular season. And they can beat you multiple ways, right? They have a guy in Giannis who can, dominate the inside. They have a lot of shooters in Brook Lopez, right? Big man shooter. DiVincenzo, Middleton, and Jrue can also hit the three. And the thing about the last two guys, DiVincenzo or Jrue Holiday and Middleton, they can also beat you off the dribble and go ISO. So it's rough when you have two bad defenders on the court, right? Like Miami does. If you have one bad defender, you can usually cover them up, with just scheming and effort. But if you have two, it can get really hard, especially when you're playing a team like Milwaukee, and you saw that last night. So we talked about the fact that if Miami can get more stops, it'll help their offense. But it's also, you have to look at the other side where when Miami is struggling to score, Milwaukee then gets to get out in transition, and it's even more of a nightmare because you can't stop him in the half court, and then you just give them easy baskets like this. Bryn Forbes, known shooter, and once he starts catching fire, gets a few easy looks, he can go off for nights like he did last night, right? And not to the same degree, but they have a lot of shooters, and the thing about shooters, especially streaky ones, is if they just get one or two easy looks to go in, they can win you a game even in the playoffs, and that's exactly what Bryn Forbes did last night. And Miami got off to a slow start, gave some easy looks to a couple of guys, and it really was just downhill from there. So now you have the same problem with Tyler Hero, right? And I'm a Tyler Hero fan. I think what he did in the playoffs last year was really good. But you see here, right? And Miami's actually done a really good job here of protecting the paint and really just continuing the drive, right? Jrue Holiday drives in, gets all the way to the paint, but can't get a shot off. And because Portis hasn't been able to clear out, they're able to just guard Jrue Holiday here, and it's still a 3-on-3 on the outside, right? You have here, and here, or should be. So you have 3-on-3 on the outside. They do a good job of containing the initial drive, but Tyler Hero just, for some reason, he's just staring at the ball and just loses Pat Connaughton. Now, Pat Connaughton does a really nice job of moving without the ball, gets himself into position, gives Jrue an angle for an outlet pass, and then gets the wide open three. But that just unacceptable defense by Tyler Hero, especially when you're already down. You have to be even more locked in, can't continue to give up open threes, and he just does exactly that. So you can see here now, right, Miami's going to the Bam Adebayo guarding Giannis strategy. And you can do that because the Bucks don't have Brook Lopez out there, so you can just go to this matchup. Now, Jrue Holiday with a really nice entry pass, gets a Giannis on the inside, and a little bit of a miscommunication here by the Heat because Tyler Hero actually does a decent job of rotating, but he should have been, I don't know if there's miscommunication or if what happened, but Goran also takes even just a split second to go out onto PJ Tucker. And that's going to hurt him because you obviously see here now Pat Connaughton is wide open and nobody's out there, right? I mean, Iggy's out there, but he has to stay on, or not stay on, but he has to now make a decision. And then it just kind of breaks down because then Goran Dragic is a little bit too late getting out onto Pat Connaughton. He gets another three to go from pretty much the same spot he hit one earlier. So a lot of the threes came off of, just really good passing by Milwaukee as well. Granted, again, I know we talked about the fact that Miami, fell asleep on some of these plays or just didn't have the right communication, but it also comes from a lot of the switching that, Milwaukee was able to make Miami do, right? Because you see here, Goran Dragic has to guard Bobby Portis, right? And Bobby Portis isn't a elite post player or something, but you still have to give him respect. There's a lot of size differential there. So Iggy's coming out to help, and Bobby Portis takes on the double team. The one thing I don't like here is the fact that you let him rip through here, right? It's a really good rip through move by Bobby Portis, but you, as a defender, this is a really good trap in a vacuum. Like, as is right now. But once he steps through, you can't let that happen. Goran Dragic, instead of playing him on on this plane right here, he has to be playing him on this plane, so he can't step through, right? But because Goran Dragic gives him that inside foot to allow that outside foot to come through, he then is able to get it to Giannis, and then at that point the play just breaks down because you have too many guys who are playing for the trap to work. And then Tyler Hero has to go all the way to the other side of the court to try and close out to Bryn Forbes, who again has already hit a few threes. And this is just too easy. But again, it comes off of Milwaukee getting these matchups that they want, and then Miami just having to bring a lot of help or double team. So we talked about how turnovers hurt Miami, right? Bam Adebayo with a really bad pass here. I mean, he just isn't himself right now. Isn't playing great. So they get caught in a situation here where, I mean, at this point, I honestly thought that Bryn Forbes was going to get the ball. I mean, he's already calling for it, right? But the fact is, like, nobody's even stopping ball. Iguodala, for some reason, isn't stepping up at all, even though, I mean, I guess, you do want to plan for Giannis to be cutting, but someone has to stop ball at all times. You have to stop ball. If they make a pass and they get a dunk, whatever, but you can't just give them a wide open shot off of nothing. You have to at least make them make the pass. Nobody steps up here. Again, no, I don't know if it's communication or effort. Goran Dragic tries to come back into play, but he's the one that Bam Adebayo is trying to pass the ball to under the rim. So, I mean, there's not much he can do. And just no fight here. Miami's just watching Milwaukee just step into wide open threes and just blowing them out. I like, and I criticized Budenholzer and the Bucks earlier in the season for them being a little bit too predictable at times with the offense and just Giannis being at the top of the key, and just either using someone else as a pick and roll and just driving, or just trying to euro his way to the basket. I think that with Chris Middleton continuing to improve and Jrue Holiday coming onto the team, I think that he's been used in pick and rolls a bit more. I don't know about the numbers, but it actually at least seems that way. And I like what they do here, right? Because Brook is back in the game, you have Bam Adebayo guarding him. And then they actually single him out by trying to put Brook Lopez on the other side, right? On the weak side of the ball. And Bam is still cheating over a little bit, but you do still have to, he can't, fully go because you have to respect Brook Lopez as a shooter. Granted, he's been playing in the post a bit more and kind of shied away from the three a bit more than he has in the past, but still, I like being or having Giannis being used as a screener. He kind of slips it, and a good play. Pat Connaughton comes off here, and then they get a wide open dunk off that. But again, Bam Adebayo can't even fully be the help man because he still has to respect Brook Lopez's ability to spread the floor and shoot. So this play is really neat because now you have a double screen. So whatever they're running, they're doing things to keep Bam Adebayo away from Giannis, right? And this is a situation here where Iguodala, again, he's not the defender he used to be, but he's going to get his turn to try to guard Giannis. But it's a double screen, so again, Bam has to stay attached to Brook, and even be there for the hedge in case Middleton goes all the way over. And because this is still early shot clock, early offense action, Miami isn't really set, right? I mean, you have 4 defenders here at the 3-point line or 3-point line extended, right? Nobody in the paint at all whatsoever. This whole paint wide open, and it allows Giannis, right, to just go in, gets a wide open alley-oop. I mean, I really like Milwaukee's actions. I really do. I think their offense has gotten a lot less predictable, more creative, and again, against a team like Miami, who in the past matched up really well, now it just looks a lot worse. And granted, again, this is game 1 was still a lot better, and Bam did still do a really good job on Giannis, but I think Milwaukee's changed some things up. And I continue to harp on this, but I think Miami's lack of ability to continuously score and consistently score or even get good looks, it's hurting them a lot because it's leading to fast break opportunities and even delayed transitions like this where Milwaukee's just getting wide open threes or dunks. All right, so Milwaukee gets another wide open look from this, and it comes off of another switch, right? Goran Dragic ends up on Giannis. Iggy has to come down and help. He just gets lost here. And this is pretty bad help defense by Iggy. If you're going to go help, you got to go help. He doesn't really guard Giannis, right? He lets him just step through with a euro, doesn't make an attempt, and then just loses Pat Connaughton. At all times, ideally, if you are a help defender, you want to see ball and obviously make a play at the ball, but you want to be in a position where you can see ball and see man. He doesn't see man here, right? His hip is completely turned this way, and his only looking at the ball. Ideally, he drops down here, and then opens his left hip up this way so that he can see both Giannis, right, and Pat Connaughton. You want to be in a situation where he'd be able to do that if he was here. But that goes back to just moving your feet and trying to beat guys to the spot, and not playing defense with your arms, and really just being engaged. And these are small things that you're not going to see on the stat sheet, but it really does make a difference. And I think Miami just right now they're not doing the small things, which is crazy because Spoelstra, the Heat, Pat Riley, a lot of their philosophy and strategy and just the way of doing things is really harped on the details and effort, and we just didn't see that last night. So we have a really nice out of bounds play that gets the Bucks yet another mismatch, and they can easily they end up capitalizing on it really easily. So Chris Middleton is inbounding the ball. A lot of times you hear announcers saying watch out for the inbounder. PJ Tucker says a really nice hard screen. Chris Middleton cuts hard off of that, and then what you have is now Trevor Ariza and Duncan Robinson end up switching. And then you have Duncan Robinson having to guard Chris Middleton, and this is just way too easy. Turns around, and Duncan Robinson puts his hands up. There's nothing he can. I mean, he probably feels like there's nothing he can do. Right? Again, not very athletic. One of the slower guys, and Chris Middleton, again, to his credit, all-star type player, gets around, gets a really easy basket to go. Chris Middleton ends up getting the switch here again on Duncan Robinson. This is actually pretty good defense by Duncan Robinson, but again, Milwaukee's already having one of those nights. They're playing, carefree. They're just having fun at this point, and it's a dangerous spot for a team to be in, especially one that's already good offensively. And they're just letting it fly, and again, it's just. I was surprised at how easy Milwaukee was getting these switches. Again, that was good defense on that position, but we've seen multiple times Miami just easily giving up on these switches, and they're not really fighting through the screens. And I don't know if it's a strategy thing to just try to make it easier, but it obviously didn't work last night. We have a play here where, again, now it's Kendrick Nunn on Giannis, another matchup nightmare for the Heat. And then you have four guys having to guard Giannis here. Duncan Robinson comes over, Nunn, the original guy. Ariza is helping off of PJ Tucker, and then Bam here is in position to guard that lob to Brook Lopez and also stop Giannis. And then even Jimmy Butler here is sliding over from the corner to try to stop him. So you can see just how much attention Giannis gets, right? I mean, you look at here, Jrue Holiday is open, Brook Lopez is somewhat open, PJ Tucker's wide open, and then Bryn Forbes has this much space. The guy who has been killing Miami this game has this much space to himself, right? And then Giannis makes the easy pass, and PJ Tucker joins the fun, gets the corner three to go. So another possession, another mismatch. You have Duncan Robinson having to guard Jrue Holiday. Now, Jrue Holiday misses a shot, but I want you guys to look at Dwayne Dedmon. And he actually played really well last night. Again, so I think he's going to get more minutes coming into game 3, but he just gets completely lost here. I mean, he's watching the mismatch. He's seeing if he should help or not. And, he just loses track of the one guy you really can't lose track of, Giannis, and he just gets the easy putback. So, again, it's coming off of these mismatches, but also the effort, miscommunication, a lot of things just going up against Miami. You see the score there, not even close. It ended up being, I think it was 78-51 at half. That's a game where you throw out if you're Miami. Obviously, there's things you can take away from it. You just try to leave that behind. Again, I think that hopefully they have some, things that they work on. Trying to switch a little less, some of the communication stuff. And it's hard for Spo because, you're dealing with a team with Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, and Tyler Hero, who are all negative, just below average defenders. And even Goran Dragic, he tries, but he's an average defender at best. And it's difficult. Milwaukee's a really good offensive team, a team that can spread the floor. They have 3 guys who can take you off the dribble as well. They have, I think they're, again, more depth and more mentally and physically tough than they were last year in Miami. On top of that being worse, losing guys like Jay Crowder. I don't know. I don't expect game 3 to be as lopsided as game 2 was. I also don't expect it to be as close as game 1 was either, unless Jimmy Butler and the Heat can find out a way to be more efficient offensively. Also, I think Milwaukee is going to continue to get pretty easy looks, and Miami just doesn't have the firepower to keep up with Milwaukee. The only way they can keep up is if they can continue to score, and then have Miami or Milwaukee having to play more half-court offense instead of getting fast breaks and even delayed transition opportunities. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If we don't have a video tomorrow, we'll be back Thursday. Another podcast episode coming up on Friday, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And also follow us on our social media pages. Links will be in the description below. But until then, peace.